When you're looking at the scope of FRM, I need to tell you that it's not going to be so much applicable when you're talking about a manufacturing company or something, because it is specializing in risk management. The application is going to be extensive when you're looking at the banking sector, financial institution sector. There is a lot of growing application when you're looking at the fintech sector. Recently, Alibaba's fintech was in news. It is more than double the valuation of Goldman Sachs, I guess. So, $155 billion or something. Warburg Pincus is a private equity firm from which they have raised, issued fresh capital. Anyways, so finance, financial institutions, banking, credit rating agencies, and all these are given obvious, and the energy companies. So when you're looking at anywhere where the risk part comes in, because now the data and all these things have become so important when you're looking at artificial intelligence and all those things, risk becomes a very important part. IT risk, data risk. So whenever you're talking about risk, you're talking about FRM. So FRM designation will not have an application when you're trying to look at, let's say, a manufacturing company's finance department. But it is going to be applied when you're talking about the banking, financial institutions, fintech companies, IT companies, only the risk part, the data risk part, and the energy companies. So the specification, the specialization of FRM is in the risk management domain. So that is one. Second, a lot of people give me a question as to what is the salary expectation that I can have with FRM. Now putting a figure to FRM is very, very difficult, and I never give out a salary figure that you can draw. You have to understand that whether it is a chartered accountant or an MBA or a CFA or an FRM, whatever be the profession, there are people who are getting a salary of, let's say, X, and there will be people getting a salary of 10X as well. So it depends on how well you are able to apply your knowledge, what is your experience, how much of how much of knowledge you have about the economy, politics, how well are you, how good are you at speaking, at giving presentations. Because if you cannot handle a board meeting or a boardroom, if you cannot give a good presentation at boardroom, you cannot expect yourself to climb in that manner. Probably there are people who just take the back end part and they are so technically skilled that they do wonders behind the desk also. So it depends on demand and supply of the economy. Today the fintech area is growing very much, so you might be having a lot of demand. I've got a few students I was interacting with into the data science and all that, and they are developing risk models for these companies. They've combined IT and financial risk management together. So there are a lot of combinations and all also possible. So when I'm talking about the scope, this is I've explained to you the syllabus, I've explained to you that these are the areas in which applications are there. Again, it depends on the demand supply of the economy. It depends how well read you are. How many of you are reading management books, business books? How many of you know about what is happening in the political scenario and in the economy around? Because if you're not able to apply your knowledge, how would it work? If you're not able to crack an interview, the designation tells the employer that this person knows so and so of risk management. Now your application part, cracking the interview part, your smartness, that you'll have to handle. So it'll be very difficult for me to put a price quote. The second question I get is that in India the scope is less, or in our countries abroad the scope is more, or the pay is more. Of course the pay abroad is going to be more than in India, because that is there for all the professions, because the standard of living, the cost of living is very, very high abroad. So that way if you're comparing dollars versus rupees, of course you're going to have a disparity. The next thing is, of course, you'll have to study, you'll have to grow, you'll have to learn something more. Otherwise, how do you expect yourself to escalate or start from a good profile? So you'll have to decide whether you are looking at a graduate and then do you think you're going to be able to crack a better job, or with a professional degree and then you'll be able to crack a better job with that. So that is going to be up to you. The institute does not provide a campus placement. So say for example a B school, the companies come to the B school and take away candidates. The institute does not provide us campus placement. You have to apply for vacancies and jobs and all, and the way everybody else gets it, we need to do that. Yeah, there are online portals in all of the institute wherein job listings and all they do a little bit of assistance and all. So that is there, but the institute does not provide you a campus placement. So you need to have the correct, accurate information, right? Try developing your technical skills, your Excel, PPT, your vocabulary, your reading. That's very, very important. So try to do all those things. Even I can try to help you out. There is no placement guarantee. We just try to assist. If I know something, I can just post in the group or something like that. I can do that in order to help you out. I'm trying to develop an HR portal properly, wherein all the students can interact and their placements get better. So working on that, there is no commitment on that part. But again, I can just try. I can just forward resumes here and there, or something like that can be looked into. So you need to enhance your resume. Again, mostly for the students who are starting off with FRM, not the working professionals. I'm hoping you guys are already into a lot of reading and you already understand the economy and political scenario and all. For the others, for the students, please get into a reading habit. It is going to be very, very important, because I'll be taking up examples and whatever's happening around, and you need to be able to, relate to it. So it's very important that you are following the news and everything, and start reading. It's very important. Your reading speed needs to improve. Right, so that is one thing that I need to tell you. So scope and all, I've told you which areas you can look at, and there are a variety of areas. There are combinations wherein I was just reading a year back or something, I came across a profile. Deutsche Bank was hiring for the CS plus FRM or something, because they wanted the compliance risk department. So then the risk part comes in, the law part comes in. So there are various combinations are possible. You never know how what knowledge is going to come in together, because I always believe that you can never know more. I mean, knowledge never goes waste. So I always believe in you need to keep on learning and updating yourself. So that is with respect to your scope and job. Your work ex requirement, as per the institute, there is a 2-year work experience requirement. Now it is not that you have to complete your 2 years work experience before you start FRM. You can do both the levels simultaneously. Your work ex could be there. You can acquire your work experience after the 2 levels are completed. With respect to your work experience, you don't need to bother about it right now. You don't need to submit any proof or something to the institute. The institute, after you're done with the designations, they will ask you details of your work experience. So even whatever department, whatever work you're doing, you need to explain how it is related to risk. So in certain words, you have to put in as to how your job is related to risk. It is not an internship or an articleship or something. You need to put in the details of the work, and they will give an approval, and they will just recognize it, and you will get your designation. Even if you do not have a work experience and you have cleared FRM Part 2, on your resume you can write FRM Part 2 cleared. So the employer knows that the person does not have experience, but then he has completed the 2 levels. That is fine, right? That is about your work experience.